I guess I want to start with a little bit of confusion. You started the film with a title saying, you know, it was about an elderly person. I kept looking for the elderly person, and
Yes, I know. Joyce corrected, Joyce Carlotes, when we first made this, and she saw the film because I wanted everyone to see the film. She said it was old person. And she said, you can't say that in US. It's unpolite. So I changed it.
I'm very interested in how you decided to make it. You know, you said last night after the Joyce Carol Oates that you were all tied down and you saw Stig as being very isolated, as we all were. And to me, it felt like a meditation on being isolated with all the other elements that you put together to make it a whole film. I don't think it would have been much of anything if it had just been Stig talking to friends. I mean, they're all interesting people. How did you make those decisions? Did you make them as you went? Did you make them in the editing room? You know, as filmmakers, the film really gets made in the editing room. And very, very often, your initial ideas, if you're a good filmmaker, you realize, oh, that's not really working and I need to get rid of it. Or, wow, look at how that came together. What if I do this? Or what if I add this? Could you talk about that?
Yes, actually, it was like the idea came up, as I told you yesterday, because I was feeling that this man, Stig, that I have known for almost 14 years now, we have been traveling around the world, and he's like a 19-year-old backpacker. And I thought after 2 months, I suddenly thought, oh shit, poor Stig, he will sit alone, isolated. But I was sure that he was looking at movies all the time. You know, he has these films from the bottom to the top of his apartment. It's a film history. He's a living film history man. And I wanted to keep him company in a way, to stay with him inside as much as it was possible. So I called him and said, Stig, maybe I can make a film about you. Because maybe you could just choose 10 or 15 of the films, because everyone are sitting at home. The film industry is locked. The production is not existing. Maybe you could choose, if you have to see films, pick up 10, 15 of the best. And maybe you can call your friends and ask them what kind of film they would choose. And actually, the choices, because Stig is the main character, the choices from Stig together with the choices that his friends chose made a huge list of maybe 100 films. So I thought these 100 films tell something about Stig as a person. Because of, his friends loves the, if you understand what I mean. And that became the script. And I wanted to, because I didn't want to make interviews with Stig. It was not that kind of film. I wanted to make a kind of emotion.
That was very good, by the way.
Thank you.
That was very good that you didn't say, okay, Stig, how are you feeling today?
No, the feeling was I wanted to come so that close as possible, emotional, to the audience to feel Stig as a person.
His experience.
Yeah, and also the film in itself could tell the story about isolation and to be scared of the pandemic. And we were all, because we couldn't meet each other, we couldn't dance together, then we could, I could at least, when I looked at the film, I could cry, I can feel. So for me, it was like the film story is the script of the film. So actually, that is the script, the 100 films, and everything is connected to Stig.
So Stig, when you reached out to your friends, Isabella and others, did you have a giant list that you cut down? Did you I assumed that as soon as you contacted people, they went, "Oh, what a great idea." Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I had a list and we discussed it because over the years, also writing about movies and I've got to know very many film people all over the world. So I had a list of maybe 10 people more. Some I couldn't find, like Gus Van Sant, whom I know very well, never answered. Sigourney Weaver, who you see in Alien in the film, we worked together on the Ingrid Bergman movie. Sigourney said yes at one point, but when it came to filming, she was busy with some other work.
Call my agent.
As a pity. Yeah. Yeah. So there were a list, and Lars von Trier, who is a great friend, and I made a film, a portrait film of him many years ago, and I know him very well. He said he could be in the movie, but he was working on The Kingdom #3 for the moment. They are filming, so he said I can do it after we have finished filming. But I mean that was far too late. So I was in touch with some others who, by chance or as a pity, couldn't. Yeah.
And how many conversations on average with each of your friends were there?
You mean how many?
How many Zoom calls? Was it just one?
I mean, if you see how it's edited.
Isabella's in the same place.
We had one long talk, Isabella and I. Yeah, I had a long talk with John Sayles. I had a long talk. So it's cut up in it's. Yeah.
And actually, if I can say something, when we started, I thought I had to work very quickly because the pandemic.
It's going to end.
Yeah, it's going to end before June. And I was a bit stressed because I started this project in March. And the first was with you, I think, in the beginning of April. And I was a bit stressed. Oh, the pandemic, it will end, it will end. And so we were shooting and taking some of the Zooms before the summer. And then suddenly it came back, as you know. And you're still wearing masks. And so we continued. So the script changed. Because, the latest Zoom we did in December, I think. So because I in the beginning, I wanted to release it directly. Because that was very important for me to release it directly when we were in the middle of the pandemic. Because I wanted this film to be like, to help people to identify themselves and maybe laugh and maybe, but it was just going on and on and on, and there were new Zooms, we would say, all the time.
We're still sitting with masks and everywhere.
Yeah.
But this one with Isabella, I chose very early that some of the friends should come back, because we can't just have it's a chain of new people all the time. It's better to stay with 2 or 3 more close friends. So we decided that you are a close friend.
And it was a relief, I think many of you will agree, and probably did this, that we had people that we maybe hadn't been, that good friends, you can say you're a good friend, but you only talk to them a few times a year. And we had some groups of people that we were, okay, we'll see you again in a month. And it was 4 or 5 people. Isabella, when you got the call from Stig, what did it feel like? Did it feel like a relief? Did it feel, and then you had this wonderful conversation?
It felt good to be I was delighted to speak to Stig and Stina. They've made a wonderful documentary about my mother called Ingrid in Her Own Words. My mama is Ingrid Bjorkman. And so we became friends since and admire of their work. So when they called, I thought, wow, what a great idea. They always have good ideas, these two. And it was fun, because I was also alone in my house. So it was fun to be part of a film, because everything shut down, everything closed. And I was curious to see, what could you make a film? just standing in your room, and you can. And I was just saying to Stina at the end of the film, it's really an homage to cinema too, and how cinema can take you out into a fantasy, whatever moment of sadness. And that stack of films, I've started to see, I've learned how to download films. So now I get up very early, and the first thing I do is watch a film every day. So I've seen more films than ever. And I was saying it's an intimate relationship with films when you can see them early. For me, early in the morning in my bed, in my computer, it's like reading a book, and then I stop for a second, take a coffee, then continue to watch it. And I've seen film in ways that I've never seen them before, by taking an author and say all their work. And so it's very in-depth.
Yeah, the films were really remarkable in how they brought us to other places and how they sort of took off from maybe what you were portraying, Stig, as feeling. How did you find all those films and find all those clips? And I can't imagine. I would think, given that, oh my God, the COVID's going to be over next week, I've got to work fast. Did you have 20 people helping you?
No, it was me and the editor. We took this list of the 100 films, and she said this was the best job ever for an editor, to watch 100 good films. So she spent the first 3-4 weeks just looking at good films, and then we made marks, like Melancholia, Lars von Trier, Nostalgia, all these films. And when we talk about cinema, it's very thematic. In a way, the script of the film is very thematic and playful. But it was very expensive. I made this film as an in-house production because we needed to survive as a production. And suddenly I thought it was so fun to be a director again. I was so happy. And it was fantastic because now I have produced film for 16 years.
But not directed?
No, before I started my company, I was a director. I made radio documentaries and TV documentaries, but I haven't directed for 16 years. And suddenly, this was a present for myself. COVID said to me, you can make a film because you need some in-house money, And suddenly, I was stupid enough to choose 55 clips. It's so expensive.
It's I've done a lot of clips. It can be $10,000 per clip, no matter how short, and nobody ever gets back to you.
No, it's crazy.
You are asking for the same clip for the first time 25 times.
Yes, I can say.
How did you deal with that?
No, this was crazy. It was insane. We were so stressed. It was me and my archive researcher, Frida Nema. She's fantastic. And most of the clips are from old films. And at that time, like you remember the clip when we were sitting in the cinema and she got the punch, She's a statist. What do you say?
An extra.
An extra. Yeah. We could buy the rights, but we had to have her permission. and the clip with Alien, with the mask, because that is also an extra. When it comes up, we needed to find him to say yes. Hi, I'm Stina from Sweden. Can you permit me, because I needed it in an agreement, and we were looking all over. We have found many dementia homes because the people are so old. Actually, it's true, and we have talked with a lot of relatives to these people, and we found a name to the woman that had his smash on her nose, and there were 5 people in England that had the same name. So Frida, she had to call everyone and say, did you, in the 80s, it's like 45 years ago, had a smash on your nose? Can we use that clip? Today, when an actor is...
You found her?
Yes, and she said yes. But so it was very hard work, but it was also very fun. And now I'm really going to do a film. It's a dream for me to make a film about these extra people.
I was going to say, just that process could be a great film. Talk to me about the actual directing. First of all, how many were you in the apartment with?
Yes,
Steve?
this is the hard thing, because I was, of course, very scared to take COVID-19 into his apartment. So in the beginning, in the beginning of the pandemic, we were so afraid it was all over in the air, and so I just let one person in this that you saw in the beginning with this white plastic and gloves and.
To Stina, the sound guy also.
Yeah, the sound guy, and that was good because he had corona very early, in February, so he was the safest person, our sound engineer, and then I was sitting in the stairs outside with a monitor, and I was directing through it because I didn't dare to go inside.
You were sitting there in the
in the cold, freezing.
Yes.
Yes, but
so did you when there were conversations like between Stig and Isabella, would you say, "Oh, now could you talk about this?" or "Now can I ask you how you feel about this?" or is it really just a cinema verite, let them go?
No, it was let them go because it's his friends, and it was his film.
But also, before I contacted Isabella and the others, I had a list of similar questions, which was like what you do daily and during this period, and also connection with other people. And this last question was also if you would recommend a film to see during this period, which one would that be? And it's so funny. I think two of the people choose Rear Window. Yeah, not only Shawmers. Yeah.
It was so expensive.
Also, two chose In the Mood for Love. Yeah.
Actually, we had to take away a lot of film clips because they became too expensive. So we had to change the script all the time because of this. With
was that the biggest surprise? Or tell me about
I can say in the beginning, it was like very easy because everybody were so friendly in the start, and they said, "Wow, you can have it for nothing." You can because they were so happy that I was making a film. So everybody was like, "You can have it for free." And then after 10 months, they became very poor. The film industry is very poor. So suddenly they thought, "Oh shit, this is an income." So it actually increased with 100,000 euro or something. So this was like a shock, and you can see on the archive and the rights, they really know they are sitting on gold. So it's much more expensive today to buy the rights because of the industry and the lack of money.
And how many years would they allow you? Because that also is changing. It's
I always buy for, this is a very complicated word, but in
perpetuity.
Yes.
But did they let you? Because they don't let you anymore do that. Now it's much less.
But actually, I'm very good at saying we need to have it. Because for me, it's very important that the film needs to...
have a life.
A life.
Yeah.
Maybe also a very interesting film to see 20 or 30 years from now, when maybe COVID by then will be gone.
Perhaps more interesting because I think you all probably share my experience. Oh, yes, I relate to that. Oh, yes, I relate to that. I did that. I had that. In 20 years, people may be forgetting.
Yes. And did you see the first? We wanted to start a film with 2001. And they say you can never buy the rights to a clip and start a film with another film. Did you get it? Yeah. So we had to build the world. So actually, it's the same guy that has made the poster. He made this 3D Tellus. Yeah, the globe. So we made a
beautiful.
copy. Yeah, it's a copy of
Any questions?
2001.
Don.
I thought the film was just absolutely wonderful, a great collaboration. And I wonder if you could speak a little bit about what seemed to be a film within the film, the Dream a Little Dream tap dance sequence, which I thought was just beautiful and was like, there was so much about the film that was about people's fears, about the present, but this was like an ode to the future.
Yeah, I can tell you, because this is a really important thing for me. After 9 months, I think it was, Stig started to talk about that no one has touched him. It was like, Stina, do you know that no one has touched me for 6 months, for 9 months? I don't know. I don't.
2 years.
Yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember the. You can have him after.
Yeah, I'm vaccinated 3 times now, so.
No, and for me it was like, I wanted to make because this is a film about film, and in a film everything can happen. That is my idea. Everything can happen. So I thought maybe, because also the musicians, they can't perform. So there were a lot of theaters in Sweden, of course, and that were empty. So I just called some friends, Lisa Ekdahl and Blomman, these people that were, and asked, I would like Stig to dance like he was dancing for a short period. He is touching someone and he is having a meeting, but he will stay at his home and you will stay on this empty theater. So we actually went to this theater and made this sequence.
So that was not a clip.
That was not
you
a clip. That was
directing
me.
It was beautiful.
It's one,
Yeah, it
it's
was
one
me
of our
directing.
most famous old dance halls and also jazz clubs where so many also American jazz musicians have played over the years, and they have this huge dance floor also. So it's
and that's why we chose as well "Dream a Little Dream of Me." And so for a moment, they had an audience. Lisa, and the artists. For a moment, they had this feeling that there were a big audience and everybody was dancing on the floor. And he started to take lessons when you were 78, maybe.
Yes,
and
in tap dancing,
yeah,
yes.
and tap dancing.
I did.
And I thought it was wonderful if they
And
could
you gave
have
me
a tap dance together.
2 extra lessons before. Done it for
And
some
when
time.
did this idea come to you? At what point of the filming or the editing did you say, I got it?
No, it was like when Stig told me that no one had. He had almost forgot how it is to, the lack of a human being's hand, and I like a lot as I just wanted to. I don't know how you say it in English. To do a kind of scene. I directed a scene, and I asked them to write the song, and for a
Fantastic.
moment we were happy, and then the train comes back and we light up the dancing place and there are no one because it's empty.
Yeah. Another question, perhaps?
Comment. I thought the use of music was really good to keep changing moods, and the whole film was wonderful.
Thank you. No, everything in the film is actually film. So it's film music and it's small things all over. It's just film because he's a it's also for me it's a love story in a way. It's my love story because I love this man, and I think he has learned me to see films in a new way. When I've been traveling around, because I'm not a film lover as he is. I haven't seen all these films. I love to look at human persons. I'm a documentary filmmaker, but Stig, in every corner, he say, "Oh, Stina, can you see this corner? Here is the scene from Godfather," or here is wherever we are in the world. Stig has a film sequence.
The shot of all of your books was it's one short shot, and it's very, very, very important because it really tells those of us, I apologize, who don't know you, and I am honored to meet you, that here's this very important man, and look what he's done. And you don't do it by flashing names, and you don't do it by people saying, "Oh, he's so great," and you look at it and you go, "Holy, no kids, shit." You have a question?
I do. I was curious to know, and I hope it leads to a good story. Your laptop has white dots on the keys, and it looks like a constellation. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, I shouldn't. I just write with one finger, and quite rapidly, and sometimes I have two long nails. So, and those are the like E and R and S, which you use very often. I'm getting I know where they are, so I can still write very rapidly because I know these. But that's where. So now I try not to put my nail on the yeah. So that's why. But
you heard it here first. Well, thank you so much. It's been great. And if I could do one small plug, because Isabella is here, on Thursday at 6, my film, The Soul of a Farmer, which takes place at Isabella's land in Brookhaven. It's about a wonderful farmer named Patty Gentry who rents her land from Isabella. When we finally opened up just enough to walk on the farm again, there was Isabella coming out in a hazmat suit. I'm serious. In a hazmat suit with her mask and all, and we chatted from 20 feet away. And she's a wonderful character in the film. She calls Patty, I'm not going to try to imitate your English with accent. She calls Patty the Picasso of vegetables. So there are 3 short films that will be playing. They're all really wonderful, and I hope you'll come. And thank you so much for a lovely film.
I just want to add very shortly that because it was in some way hard to play this old man. So I'm happy that if you find that I managed, I'm glad. Thank you.